The latest Pompey news, updates every day from the Pompey Sound news desk.
A number of professional Pompey watchers have been waving red flags about out-of-contract senior players who, according to the experts, need to be offered fresh contracts. Pompey Sound notes that one player, whose contract is up in May 2026, in other words about 6 months from now, and needs to be tied to the club, is 20-year-old highly promising and highly valued goalkeeper Toby Peter Gary Stewart. Toby, who describes himself as an accidental goalkeeper, is a local lad who went to school in Fareham. His career as a goalkeeper began when his junior club had a goalkeeping crisis, and they gave him the gloves on the basis that he was the tallest outfield player. He did well in goal, liked it, and decided to commit. He went through the Pompey Academy and signed his first professional contract in February 2022. He was immediately loaned to Bognor, spending the following season making 41 appearances for Gosport. This season he's currently on loan with St Johnstone, where he has conceded just 5 goals in 9 games for an undefeated team that are already 6 points clear of the rest, and nailed on candidates for promotion to Scotland's top tier. Stewart is such an authentic prospect that he's already made his English Football League debut during an emergency loan to Crawley Town, keeping a clean sheet against Birmingham City, with a growing likelihood that his name has been inked onto the blotters of any number of agents and freelance recruitment operatives. Pompey would be wise to put a long-term lucrative contract in front of him sooner rather than later.
This is a very wise report. He's clearly a proper prospect, and perhaps the best player to come through our academy for a very long time indeed. And I know that we all respect our recruitment team. They sleep in the knife drawer. They don't miss a trick. You can be absolutely assured that they are monitoring Toby week by week, if not more often than that, making sure that he is sound, that his progress, his development, his skill set, his intuition is being honed, when to come and when to stay. And if you're going for it, cross it, catch it, don't punch, or whatever. Whatever kind of coaching a goalkeeper needs, they will be monitoring at Pompey. They will be monitoring that coaching and making sure that it falls in line with the teachings and the coaching that is being given to the players at a club that is very well off for goalkeepers. And long may that remain the case, because they're a one-off, and these days, according to John Messino, and we're reaching the stage where nobody argues with John Messino, quite rightly, you need 4. You need 4 goalkeepers. And I think we can safely say with some certainty that when his loan time is finished at St Johnstone and he's finished supping champagne or a wee heavy from the Scottish Championship Cup at the end of the Scottish season, he will be back down here and he will be one of our senior goalkeepers, and he will be moving up the ranks because he's clearly got it, and he's only 20. He's not going to be 21 until next year. And you know, goalkeepers, they start a bit later than outfield players, and they finish often a lot later than outfield players. So he's got a terrific career ahead of him if he just stays injury-free and continues to consolidate what is obviously a God-given talent. So there's a quick flag, as if Rich Hughes et al. Need it. They don't. They know what they're doing. Toby Stewart is on their radar, and let's hope he's going to be part of the Pompey setup for a decade or more.
The Socceroos coach Tony Popovic has been telling the press why certain stars such as Pompey's Adrian SEGECIC were excluded from the squad to face international friendlies.
The likes of SEGECIC were selected in the September window when we gave a lot of new players an opportunity, a lot of young players a chance to show where they currently are. We have a good understanding of that and will continue to monitor them and see how they grow from now up until the end of the season. With the camps, I'm open to selecting them again, of course. The reason for their omission was it's the chance for me to look at some other players. I've seen now what they can do, and we'll keep watching them. Hopefully they can keep getting more minutes and their performances can stay at a high level. But it's a chance to look at a few other players now, and we'll see for the future camps. We've got November and we've got March. But for all of these players, it's a great chance when they get called in. We gave the boys debuts in the last window. Young Nick Milanovic, wonderful for him and his family, and hopefully the other boys who missed out, if Noah Botic and SEGECIC, get their chance one day to get their cap as well. But it's also a chance for other players. We've got boys I haven't seen before in Nicholas D'Agostino, Cam Devlin, and young Alexander Robertson as well. We want to keep the door open for everyone, and then, hopefully, make a tough selection for the World Cup. Then, for the ones who miss out, there's a chance in the Asian Cup and beyond that.
He seems like a hard man, does Mr. Popovic, and he wants to appeal to and impress fellow Australians, and there's no better way to do that than come across as being hard as nails, etc. He's got a clear strategy when it comes to bringing players into his squad and then resting them. Wishes he wants to have a look at them close up. That doesn't necessarily mean for him that they have to play in a game. He gets to watch them in training, he gets to talk to them, he gets to know them, he gets to get a feel for them. We can only assume, I think, that he saw enough of our SEGECIC in order to make up his mind, and there are some other young players that he wants to have a look at. Interesting that he wants to see Alex Robertson. Our Alex Robertson. I hesitate to call him that because he isn't our Alex Robertson, but he feels to us as though he's a player who made the wrong decision when he chose Cardiff over us and is living to regret it. Apparently he hasn't featured at all in Cardiff's squads since the start of the season. He's just been hung out to dry, basically. I don't know why. He's not the sort of player that the new Cardiff boss likes or wants. So, and that's an interesting one because there were a couple of championship clubs that were interested in him. We'll track his progress. There's always an outside chance, and it is a very outside chance, that we may open up the checkbooks for him. We know that John Messina was tracking him specifically for a long time before we landed him on loan, and we can be pretty certain that John Messina and the recruitment team were disappointed that they got their checkbooks out to bring him in, but Cardiff presumably appealed to him more. I'm guessing here, but it does seem likely to be the case that they made an offer with a greater amount of money, but he's not getting game time now in League One. He would have been getting game time in the Championship if he was still turning out in our blue shirt. Anyway, we'll keep an eye on what the Australians do against Canada and then against the USA, and no doubt that our Aussie boys will be sitting at home enjoying not being jet lagged, enjoying not being tired out when they land back, when they would have landed back in this country with just 48 hours to turn themselves around for the trip to Leicester. They can watch the game and then turn in, which suits us. It's probably selfish of us, but isn't it fair for Pompey fans to hope that they don't have too much involvement, tiring involvement with their national side, only because their national side is such a long way away. If it was France or Holland, that's a bus trip. But flying right the way around the other side of the world and all that entails, it takes its toll. Jay Sadler is busy preparing Pompey women for their second clash in, 4 days, against Southampton, this time in the league, but he's having a nightmarish injury crisis. Here's what he says.
I cannot remember having so many players unavailable in my 10 years here, and it has been a struggle. You are asking the same group to cognitively and physically execute a game plan with intensity for 90-plus minutes Sunday to Wednesday to Sunday, which obviously comes with its challenges. All we can do is change the system, change the strategies. What we lacked at Ipswich when we went 2-1 up after 60 minutes, and Forest when it was 1-0 after 57 minutes, was the ability to freshen the squad up from the beach. We simply haven't had that option to do so. It has obviously taken its toll, which is why I can't fault the application, but we need to maintain the motivation and quality levels in both boxes. We will have late fitness tests for Angelina and Greta, but the possibility of them being back is slim, which is a shame. So it looks like we'll be going into that game with limited numbers once again. So we're looking at a squad with 13 outfield players available, with 2 of them fresh from our under-23 squad last season, who have never played senior football and only recently made their debuts in the League Cup for limited minutes. Although it can be seen as a bit of an excuse, the players we do have available are of good enough quality to be picking up points in the league.
And let's hope they do. I know it's a South Coast derby, but there's no excuse for that slip of the tongue there. Freshening the squad up from the beach. He definitely meant to say freshen the squad up from the bench. Well, it's going to be an interesting day for quite a few people for quite a different set of reasons. Two players from our under-23s squad never played senior football, and they're going into a match which is a big deal. Any which way you look at it, any league game that they're playing at the moment is a big deal. It's a challenge because there are some darn good teams in the second tier of women's football in England, and we're playing them week in, week out. But this time round, because it's the game that it is, the all-hallowed derby, there's that extra responsibility, which is going to be resting on some young shoulders. And the older shoulders that are available, that aren't injured, it means that they've got even greater responsibility, not only to look after the performance and the scoreline, but also after the youngsters, whether they start or are available on the bench and come on during the game. Then obviously that time will tell. That remains to be seen. All we can do at Pompey Sound and yourself, dear listener, as well, is wish Pompey women well against that lot up the road.
Joseph Bursick is talking about breaking into the Pompey starting lineup.
It's lovely to be back in England because I did miss it, and nice to be out there on the pitch again. This is a great league, and hearing the stadium bounce last week was brilliant. The fans really were so great. It's just about being solid at the back, and not necessarily looking to stand out, but give confidence to the lads in front of me. I've honestly been blown away by how loud they are and the ability they have just to push us over the line when there are tired legs. I didn't expect to be coming into the side so quickly, but that's football and you just have to be ready for the chance. I do feel like I've conducted myself well and learnt from my previous experiences in the game, so I'm in a good place. It's just about being solid at the back and not necessarily looking to stand out, but give confidence to the lads in front of me. Seeing off Borough, who had started the day at the Championship Summit, meant the Blues could enter the international break on a high. Bursick said, "It was fantastic to get the win and I thought it was thoroughly deserved because we limited them to very few chances. That was a great feeling to take into the break and meant we could take a few days off and then work hard to get ready for the next game."
Yes, it came as a surprise to everyone that he found himself between the sticks, as they say. He probably thought that he wouldn't even make the bench to begin with for some time. And here he is now, effectively our first choice keeper. Well, he's done okay. We don't quite yet have the same confidence in him that we were developing with Nico Schmidt, but then he'd had plenty of time to establish himself and prove himself, and he's a great shot stopper and a terrific distributor of the ball, and he catches his crosses. Bursick's kicking isn't as good as Schmidt's, but then Schmidt's is top draw. Bursick is probably just about level par with most of the rest of the keepers in the Championship, so that's all right then. He makes another mention. We talked about it yesterday on Pompey Sound about tiredness. He talks about the fact that the crowd help the players get over the line when their legs are getting tired. This is clearly something that gets talked about quite a lot in the Pompey camp amongst the players and the coaching staff. And so it means that we can expect to see plenty of substitutions during the second half, which used to be done for tactical reasons or because someone was injured. Now it seems as though a main reason, if not on occasions the main reason for players coming on and other players coming off, is to keep people as fresh as possible and to avoid the kind of injuries that could have their basis in tired legs. So, nice to hear our new first choice keeper saying some nice words about the club and about the fans, of course. And it sounds as though he's got both feet planted on the ground, except obviously when he's got to jump. You know what I mean. He sounds like a level-headed guy. So he is a welcome addition to Pompey's first team.